This is Crossroads Media.
When you decide to embrace your new self, hindi po yan rebelyon, hindi rin yan face, at higit sa lahat, hindi yan pagkakamali. It's a natural variation of human beings to have different human identities. A reminder that the beauty of humanity is in its diversity.
From ideas that spark change to stories which inspire growth, we'll uncover what lies ahead and shape the future together. Welcome to What's Next with Jovit Moya.
Hello mga kaibigan! Kamusta na po kayo? Welcome to another episode of What's Next with Jovit Moya. Dito po natin nire-remind sa inyo na kung ano man ang inyong journey sa buhay, you are not alone. So let's go and unpack life's mysteries for us. Alam niyo mga kaibigan, lumaki po tayo na may mga myth or sabi ko kasinungalingan ng matatanda. Ine-expect po nila kasi na pag adult ka na, abay sorted out na yung buhay mo, sorted out na yung career mo, sorted out na yung relationship mo, sorted out mo na yung pangloob ng pagkatao mo. At siyempre, nandun na rin yung kung sino ang partner mo. Pero mga kaibigan, yun po ay para sa isang perpektong buhay. Wala pong buhay na perpekto. If this were a perfect world, wala na pong may problema. Di ba? Kaya kung hindi ganun kasimple ang buhay, hindi ito parang checklist, di ba? Sa pag may gagawin ka sa opisina, may checklist yun. Hindi po ganun ang buhay. Pabago-bago po ang ating gusto. Nagbabago rin ang ating pagkakakilala sa ating sarili. Ang Science tells us na, for example, sexuality is not fixed. It's fluid. Dynamic po to. At saka deeply personal. Ito'y adjustable according to the situation, according to the times, and according to paano nag-grow o nag-widen ang iyong pag-iisip at at ang damdamin. So, hindi ito one size fits all. Hindi rin ito set in stone. As we grow in our experiences, as we learn things about other people, and as we look inside ourselves, then we know that everything is fluid. We can always change what we want. We can always change what we prefer. So studies show that while many people feel yung meron silang attraction sa maybe opposite sex, maybe same sex, pero sometimes nagkakaroon niya ng changes, hindi ba? Marami sa atin na bata pa lang alam na ang gusto nila and they've stuck to their guns, di ba? Ito yung gusto ko. And hanggang sa tumanda sila, yun lang. So whether it is the same sex, opposite sex, or both ways, early on they knew who they were. Meron ng mga tao naman na they thought they knew who they were. Alam niyo mga kaibigan, sometimes, magugulat na lang tayo. One day, you wake up and you say, ano kaya kung itry ko something else? Something different. Bakit ako may feelings na ganito? Sometimes, mga kaibigan, darating na lang yan. Life is never a clear path. It's full of winding roads and sometimes, surprise! Oh, may ganon, di ba? Sabi nga ni Soren Kierkegaard, life can only be understood backwards. Kasi nangyari na. Pero forwards, you can only live it. Never fear questioning yourself, my dear friends. Never fear questioning the norms. Kaya today, pag-uusapan natin what it means to question your sexuality. Hindi lang ito krisis sa buhay mga kaibigan. Sometimes nakakabaliw ito kasi iniisip na rin paano yung sasabihin ng magulang ko, paano sasabihin ng pamilya ko, paano tatanggapin ba ako ng mga kaibigan ko. Minsan mga kaibigan, tahimik lang ito masimula. Pero once na-realize mo, once na-recognize mo na may mga changes sa iyong sexuality, isang moment lang yan. isang connection lang with the right person, magugulat ka, lalabas na lang yan. Masasabi mo na lang sa sarili mo, bakit ganito ang nararamdaman ko? And suddenly, my dear friends, yung storya ng buhay nyo starts a new chapter. A chapter na hindi nyo binalak isulat, pero biglang nagbukas. Diba? Science calls this identity exploration. And ito po yan. Pwede itong mangyari at any age. Pwede itong mangyari ng 16 years old, 20 years old, pwedeng 30, pwede pa nga 50 years old. May mga kilala ako kung kailan tumanda at saka doon nag-explore. Maybe dahil sa big life change, maybe dahil breakup, hindi na masaya sa current status, sa current relationship. Pero ang pinaka-importante is to have the courage to recognize it's happening to you and to recognize it requires attention. Kasi ano ba mga tatanong mo sa sarili mo? What does this mean for my life? Diba? What does this mean for my family? For my, maybe you're married, diba? Or maybe you have kids. So, for your career. Kasi life-changing po ito diba? Pero tandaan nyo mga kaibigan, facing it means you are brave. It does not mean you are broken. It simply means you are brave and you are a human being and you are willing to come to terms with who you are. Sabi nga ni Michael Foucault, do not ask who you are and do not tell me who you are. It is forbidden to know oneself. Yan ang hindi ko pinaniniwalaan. Kasi base dyan, parang pag meron kang pinili, yun na yun. That's it. Wala nang pagbabago. Diba? Pero my dear friends, ang identity natin ay hindi po ito label. It is a lifelong system of inquiry, questioning yourself, asking, is this all that I am? Is this all that I want? Is there nothing else? Diba? At kapag tinanong mo ang sarili mo, yung tapat, yung totoo, huwag kang mag-justify sa sarili mo. Alam mo, marami po tayong defense mechanism. So sometimes, magsisinungaling at magsisinungaling tayo sa sarili natin. Mga kaibigan, magsinungaling na kayo sa iba, huwag lang kayo sinungaling sa sarili. Kasi oras na tinanong mo ang sarili mo ng tapat, you're not breaking yourself. You're not breaking the mold. You are honoring yourself as a complex human being, as a person with feelings, as a person with needs, just like everybody else. Alam po mga kaibigan, ang problema lumaki tayo sa isang script di ba? Na kailangan you follow the culture, kailangan you follow your parents, you follow your religion, you follow your education. Kailangan follow. Mga kaibigan, hindi naman tayo robot, di ba? Each of us are individual human beings with very peculiar likes, very peculiar wants. Hindi tayo pwedeng pare-pareho mag-isip. Hindi tayo pare-pareho susunod na lang. Pero what happens when the script no longer fits you, my dear friends? Yan ang magandang katanungan. Sabi nga sa science, ang sexuality po, at saka yung gender identity, ito ay hinubog ng nature at nurture. Yung binigay sa'yo ng kalikasan. At kung paano ka lumaki at yung environment mo. Ito ang tinatawag natin na biopsychosocial factors. May biology, may psychology, may sociology. Kasi wala pong isang single cause to make us who we are. It is always a combination of these forces. My dear friends, dyan minsan nagkakaroon ng problema pag hindi tayo nakaka-cope sa conflict ng mga forces na yan. Some of us will try to pray. Maybe it will go away if we pray. Some of us will hide it in the dark corners of our hearts. Pero alam niyo mga kaibigan, may kapalit po yan. Yan po yung emotional cost ng pagkukunwari, ng pagtatago. Sabi nga ni Simone de Beauvoir, sabi niya, one is not born, but rather becomes a woman. Ang ibig sabihin niyan po niya mga kaibigan, andyan po yung ating reflection, andyan yung ating courage, at higit sa lahat, darating ang panahon, andyan ang ating choice. Diba? Yan po ay factors yung sa final acceptance, kumbaga. So, to question your identity, to question your sexual identity, to question your sexual preference, magkaiba po yun. It will not destroy you. It has the opportunity to make you happier. It has the opportunity to make you a better human being. Diba? Yung pong sexual identity, yan yung sinasabi natin na, uy, lalaki ako. Kahit na katawang babae ka, pwede mo sabihin, babae ako, kahit katawang lalaki ka. Yung sexual preference naman, pwede rin yan na alam mong lalaki ka, lalaki rin ang gusto mo. Alam mong babae ka, babae rin ang gusto mo. Never mong naisip na ikaw ay miyembro ng opposite sex. Yun, magkaiba po yun, magkaiba po yun. Ang problema kasi sa atin, lagi natin nilalab, oy, tomboy yan, oy, bakla yan. Hindi, marami po yan, maraming nuances yan, maraming pagkakaiba yan. So, you have to be honest sa sarili natin. Honesty, my dear friends, kahit mahirap yan, dyan po nagmumula at sumisibol ang tinatawag natin na self-respect. Respetuhin natin ang sarili natin, mga kaibigan. Di ba? Pero, pag inisip mo, totoo naman. Hindi lang naman ikaw ang maaapektuhan dyan eh. Alam natin, maapektuhan ng pamilya, lalo na magulang or mga kamag-anak. Andyan, kunyari, nag-asawa ka, mga anak mo, for example, di ba? Siblings mo, barkada mo. Even your workplace. Pero dyan, mga kaibigan, masusubukan kung gaano ka katatag sabing, I am who I am. Kasi yung iba magtataka, uy, bakit kung kailan ka tumanda at saka ka naging ganyan? Di nila maintindihan. Sabagay, hindi mo rin naman naintindihan, 'di ba? Pero yung reaction po nila does not determine who you are. Yun po ay refleksyon ng sariling proseso ng pag-iisip nila. Whether malawak yung pag-iisip nila o makitid ang pag-iisip nila. So hindi mo problema 'yon. 'Di ba? Kung wala naman silang ambag sa buhay mo, kung hindi naman sila nagbabayad ng kuryente mo, hindi naman sila bumibili ng groceries mo, hindi naman sila nagpapagas sa sasakyan mo, hindi naman sila namimigay ng pamasahe mo papasok ng trabaho, wala silang pakialam sa buhay mo kahit anong sabihin nila. May narinig ka, pasok dito, labas doon. 'Di ba? Science shows us, mga kaibigan, na people who come out at a later age, yung ano yan eh, mas mabigat yung stressors niyan, 'di ba? Kasi may grief yan eh. Bakit? Nasanay ka na dun sa dating persona mo. You were maybe in love with your old persona. So there is that grief, 'di ba, nung change. Yung grief of leaving your old self behind and accepting the new self. The new self that has presented itself to you, and the new self that says, here I am. I am who I am. Diba? So isipin niyo mga kaibigan, your new self, that is your new reality. So embrace it. Embrace it. Because if you do not, your old self becomes the lie of your today. Minsan, napapaisip ka, am I betraying who I was? Pinagtaksilan ko ba kung sino ako? Pero mga kaibigan, baka naman kabaligtaran pala. Yung pala pinupuri mo at binibigyan mo ng dangal kung sino ka talaga today. Yan mga kaibigan, ang ating pag-isipan. Huwag laging negative. Kailangan tingnan natin din yung positive. There are always two sides of a coin, two points of view, 'di ba? So wag nating isipin lagi yung negative. Kaya maganda rin yung may self-introspection dahil gusto mo ring maisip ano yung positive, hindi ba? Alam niyo si Carl Jung, yung sikat na psychologist, sabi nga niya "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Yeah, let that sink in, my dear friends. So, yung tinatawag natin na acceptance, hindi po yan mangyayari overnight. Slowly, slowly but surely. Kasi pag minadali natin, pwede naman yan. Depende sa lakas ng iyong loob, sa iyong spirit of independence. Kasi meron ka ring mga itatanong sa sarili mo. You have to come to terms with certain things, di ba? Is this real? Yan ang tanong. Is what I'm feeling real? Is what I'm thinking real? And then, pag nasettle mo na yon, your next question, do I deserve honesty from myself? Tatanggapin ko ba to? O pag magkukunwari ako na it does not exist? So your next question is very simple. Do I deserve honesty from myself? And of course, the last question would be, am I worthy of being loved and being happy? O, di ba mga kaibigan? Yan po yung mga katanungan that we have to come to terms with. Science also says kasi, identity development, hindi linear yan. Hindi yan point A to point B straight line. Hindi po ganun yun. Kasi walang timeline na magkakapareho. Walang schedule yan. Know yourself, know your situation, examine the parameters, and let your timeline unfold by itself. Walang deadline naman yan mga kaibigan eh. 'Di ba? And along the way, you will find people who will respect you for it, who will see you for truly who you are. Not just the version that fits expectations, but the version that's real. And you're just like a flower. You will start to bloom, and people will see the beautiful you, that beautiful mind, that beautiful heart. Sabi nga ni Bell Hooks, love is also an action. It is never simply just a feeling. So when you decide to love yourself, my dear friends, you have to be honest to yourself. You also have to be open to changes in yourself. And you have to have the courage to stand up and fight for yourself. And dyan mangyayari mga kaibigan, ang pagiging magaling na tao nyo, the new you. Because remember, changing yourself, especially later in life, when you realize these things, it's a radical action. Radical po yan. Talaga nakaka-upset na mga normal sa buhay mo. Pero the alternative is to suffer in silence, my dear friends. It will eat at you. It will rob you of your happiness. It will eat at you. It will rob you of the stability of your heart. Diba? Yung pagiging confident mo, baka maapektuhan. So let's clear this once and for all. Being gay is not just simply a choice. Hindi rin ito napupulot, hindi rin ito kapinanganak na ganito, hindi rin ito natututo. Ito po ay all of the above. Dahil meron tayong mga genes like yung mga like XQ28 and a few other genes which contribute to sexual preference. Kaya nga yung mga identical twins, 'di ba? makikita mo talagang usually yung preference nung isa, preference din nung kabila, 'di ba? So, yung environment niyo, 'di ba, depende kung gaano ka-open yung environment ninyo, depende rin sa mga sexual experiences niyo, the things that come your way. Kaya nga sabi ko, wala pong mali dun sa mga nabanggit ko, yun po ay sabay-sabay, tulong-tulong, kapit-bisig na humuhulma sa inyong sexual preference or include na rin yung sexual identity, 'di ba? Kaya yung mga studies na ginawa nila sa mga twins, 'di ba, lalo na yung mga talagang identical twins, 'di ba, mas malaki po ang chance na if one is gay, the other one will be gay. If one is a lesbian, the other one will be a lesbian. Pero hindi po yan absolute. Genetically, the elements needed for it may be there. Pero baka pinalaki sila sa magkaibang environment. So yung nurture nila magkaiba. Kaya nga sabi ko, marami pong factors na humuhubong sa inyong sexual preference at sa inyong sexual identity. 'Di ba? Hindi lang yan genes. Genes is only one part of the equation. Mix po yan. Kaya science says sexual orientation is a cornucopia of various elements like environment, education, society, genetics, di ba? And our day-to-day experiences, di ba? So, yeah, hindi po yan when you decide to embrace your new self, hindi po yan rebellion, hindi rin yan face, at higit sa lahat, hindi yan pagkakamali. It's a natural variation of human beings to have different human identities. A reminder that the beauty of humanity is in its diversity. Yan po, dahil marami pag-iisip, magkakaiba tayo. Diyan nagiging exciting ang pagiging isang tao. Pero higit sa lahat, isipin natin, ang pagiging gay, pagiging bisexual, hindi po ito pagkakamali. Hindi ito abomination. Hindi rin ito choice. No? It's part of the beautiful amalgamation and spectrum of human sexuality. Sabi nga ni naman si Alan Turing, di ba? Yun yung magaling sa computer, di ba? Sabi nga niya, ako, I'm also gay, sabi ni Alan Turing, di ba? But we can only see a short distance ahead. And we can always see that in that short distance, there's so many things that still need to be done. I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember the exact word. So, my friends, each of us should say to ourselves, I am going to do the work. I am going to understand myself. I'm going to accept who I am. I'm going to affirm the me. At higit sa lahat, I'm going to love myself. Okay ba yun, mga kaibigan? So kung pwede mong kausapin ang yung younger self, lalo na ako, some of us kasi nagkaroon ng takot eh. Some of us nagkaroon ng fear of not fitting in, lalo na with our peers. Myself, when I was young, mayabang ako eh. I was very confident. I always had this mentality na buhay ko to, pake mo. Diba? So, I've never been influenced by what other people think of me. Diba? Wala ako sinasaktan, wala ako inaapakan, malinis ang konsyensya ko. And that's all. I treat people with respect. I treat human beings with respect. And that makes me happy. So, final reminder, yung sexual attraction nyo is not rebellion. And it may awaken anytime. So don't be shocked if it happens to you later in life. Sabi nga ni Marcus Aurelius, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. So my dear friends, think gently, think truthfully, and think lovingly. So, kung ikaw ngayon itong pinag-uusapan natin, if you're listening to us and you think this conversation fits you, whether you're questioning yourself in your 30s, maybe in your 50s, or maybe older, you are not late. You are not right on time. Because each of us have our own time frames. The beautiful thing is to live today with the most that you can do. Be happy. Be loved, my dear friends. And when shame whispers in your ears, oh, it's too late, trust the science, because the science says it's never too late. We evolve every day. And let's do it. So, does it mean anything else? Yes. You should be happy because it means you have stopped pretending. It means you have started listening to that quiet voice inside you, the true you. And maybe this is the moment when you can say, I am truly free. I am truly happy. So, my dear friends, because the path to self-discovery has no deadline, you need courage, you need grace, and say to yourself, look in the mirror and say, this is who I am. At yan lang, sapat na. So, my dear friends, it is our last episode. Next season po, we hope to invite some special guests to have an even livelier discussion. So always pause, always ask, always wonder, what's next?
This is Crossroads Media.